Welcome back to the Wolf Den. I am the Wolf.
I'm Daniel.
What the hell are you doing?
COVID, man.
We live in the same house and we're not 6 feet apart.
Well, this is true.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. Yeah.
Okay. Now
Okay.
then, let's go ahead and start proper. So, episode 13, and we've got a few things to talk about. Probably one of my new favorite shows, uh, The Mandalorian.
Mandalorian. We've already watched it, all 8 episodes of the first season, but we're gonna go ahead and do them week by week, each episode. So we just rewatched the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I want to start off by naming off a couple of the people that were in it. Nick Nolte does a voice, which was
Yeah.
cool. An character actor that's been in a million things. If you ever watch a movie where they have basically a Russian bad guy, Werner Herzog is. I
Oh
think
yeah,
he's
that
in.
dude.
I think he's in Jack Reacher. I think he's that guy at the end.
He might be. I
I
mean,
think Werner Herzog's been in a million things, and he's always a bad guy. Oh, what was some of the other things that we were just reading about? One of the voices, uh, Taika Waititi, who's in Marvel Universe,
right. He directed Thor Ragnarok.
and
He
he's
was Korg.
Korg.
Yeah.
He's Korg. Well, I think he did the voice of IG-11.
Yeah, the assassin robot, which,
Yeah.
or I'm sorry, assassin droid, which I'm very happy to see the assassin droid in a live action format.
And it so far just in the first episode. Oh, and Carl Weathers,
Hmm.
the original Apollo Creed.
Right.
He's playing the one guy that's given Mondo his jobs. I don't remember any other surprise castings in the first episode. There's more as it goes on.
Hmm. Now, honestly, and I know you didn't see the first season of The Walking Dead, but this first episode of The Mandalorian reminds me a lot of the first episode of Walking Dead, and which is interesting because a lot of people criticize episode one, season one of Walking Dead to be really slow, even though it opens with Rick shooting the zombie girl in the face. And then it kind of like goes back and shows you how he gets there. And there's like even a gun battle. And while there's no like time jump in The Mandalorian, it does start out with a bar fight, pretty much, and then and then it's like the pacing just slows down. So like there's that big action scene. They fight off the worm thing, and then once they get into the ship and Mando's just kind of doing his thing, it slows down a lot.
Brian Posehn was the speeder driver.
Ah,
If you don't know him, he's Bert from The Big Bang Theory, the geologist. He's in a lot of other things. So that
right,
was one other surprise casting that they had.
right.
And he get eaten by that, whatever it
Yeah,
is.
that thing. So and then it goes to the end, and he meets up with the assassin droid, and they have that big shootout. I mean, pretty much to me, a lot of the pacing and the action to me follows along with Walking Dead episode one. But I love both shows, but I definitely like The Mandalorian a lot. It's my new favorite.
It's awesome. I like it a lot. Now that we're going back, it's like it makes me excited to see the next episode because
Right.
we kind of sort of remember where it's going, but it's almost like it's brand new because it's
Yeah.
like that was a lot of brain cells ago that
Yeah.
have since died off.
Hmm.
Um,
So I don't remember. It definitely wasn't explained in this episode, but I don't remember if it's explained why Mando doesn't like droids. Um, but his dislike or distrust or whatever of droids basically causes that man to die, the speeder driver, which is an interesting thing. It's like I get it, he's a bounty hunter, but I mean, obviously he has a heart because he chooses to shoot IG-11 and save
the kid.
the kid. So it's interesting that he basically just like lets that guy die and kind of shows no remorse for it.
Well, I think on everybody that he kills, he doesn't show any remorse for,
Hmm.
especially like the bar fight.
Yeah, well, and that was more intentional because they started messing with him.
True.
They were trying to kill him. That was just like, well, I don't like droids, so bring me a human driver. And then, he indirectly killed him, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he would have, so I mean, but what to what end? So Brian Posehn could be in another episode, or
Well, no, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like he indirectly killed that guy. It was just kind of random.
hmm.
What I do like his outfit. Now, obviously, later on, his outfit gets like 100 times cooler, but I like the fact that he doesn't start with the full Beskar armor suit. He just has the helmet, and then when he gets the down payment, they make the little shoulder
Hmm.
blade for him. You all right there?
Yeah.
All right. I like that he's building up. Okay, so for me, it's more like a kind of like an RPG, role playing game. You start out, you have some cruddy armor. Maybe you got a bonus, right? And so you got one good armor piece, and then you work through the game to get better armor pieces. Honestly, that's what I was thinking of when I was rewatching episode 1 of The Mandalorian.
Could be. I liked, uh, geez, everything, the direction, the cinematography, the script, the acting, the effects, just everything. It was created and there's some writing and directing. It's by John Favreau,
Hmm.
Happy Hogan,
Right. He also directed the first two
Iron
Iron Men.
Man's, I think.
I don't think he did the third one. I could correct me if I'm wrong.
No, it was, no, the third one was somebody else. But he is a great all around actor, writer, producer,
Hmm.
actor, everything. He did a good job in Spider Man Far From Home.
Hmm. Right. Yeah.
So he's and it's like he had to be a big fan of Star Wars to take this on,
Oh yeah.
and then his direction, his creative vision for what the show is going to be.
Hmm.
I mean, you know, much was made of episode 4 was a throwback to what they called serials. Starts with an S, not cereal like you eat.
Right. Right. Right.
But you would go to a theater for like a quarter or something, and you sit there all day, and you would see cartoons, you would see adventures shows, you would see westerns, and you would
Hmm.
see also they would show you the news. You could sit in the theater all day long for a
Hmm.
quarter or 50 cents, whatever, and watch these things. And a serial was an adventure, and then it would be a cliffhanger. It's like,
Hmm.
here's episode 1. This is what happened, and in a bit, sometimes they would like freeze frame it in the middle of it, like swinging over lava or something.
Hmm.
It's like, what's going to happen in the next episode? Sometimes they show the next episode later in the day, or you had to wait till the next week. And so episode 4 was supposedly a western in space,
Hmm.
and B, it was a serial like the old school. That's the scene where Luke and Leia swing over the
Right.
elevator shaft or whatever it is.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about episode 4 of The Mandalorian.
Oh,
No,
Star
yeah.
Wars. And anyway, it's so that's a throwback. So this is the same to me,
Hmm.
not necessarily to serialized storyline, but it's a throwback to almost being like a western,
Hmm.
but it's
Well,
set in space.
yeah, my favorite thing in the world is when you Google The Mandalorian and it brings up the TV show, it's labeled as a space western.
Oh, there you go.
And I find that amazing. The show is great. I do really want. I know he has the helmet, but like I want him to have a cowboy hat on top of the helmet. Maybe made out of Beskar. I don't know. I don't care. Um,
Or a cowboy hat under the helmet.
no, because then you don't see it. You know.
Well, he's going to take it off eventually.
No. But anyways, have the hat on top of his helmet. I don't know, just want like not permanently, but like maybe him being another bar fight and he punches a dude and takes the hat and puts it on, and then that's it. That's all we need.
Mm, I don't
Um,
know.
But anyways, it's labeled as a space western. It feels like a space western. It's great. I don't know. Episode one, like, because I want to talk about all of it, but
Yeah,
as a whole, but trying to narrow it down to episode one, the pacing to me was fine. It was great world building.
yeah, you're
There,
introducing the characters of
hmm
who they are. Um, you kind of get to feel. I mean, later on, of course, we're going to see people's true colors. But right now, it's like, okay, we know who Carl Weathers is. We know who um, McNulty is. We know, they give you these characters, and it's like, well, what's their deal? And then they just kind of give you just a little piece of it, just
right,
enough so you go, oh, okay, I can accept that.
right. Um, I like his ship. I like that he has just an armory full of weapons, which is interesting because he goes into battle with his, I want to call it a six shooter, but it's not. But he goes into battle with his blaster. I used to know what its designation, but I can't its name, but I can't remember. And same with his rifle. He just kind of goes into battle with those, even though he's got that whole armory.
Right.
Or maybe it's not like it's an armory, but they're like keepsakes almost. It's like weapons
Mm,
he's acquired throughout his run, and like this is what he's using currently because it's the best that he's found.
yeah. Or maybe he's just saving them. I mean, so far he hasn't needed to get anything more than what he has, but
Yeah.
that could come in the next season. You
hmm
don't know.
Kind of, you know what it kind of reminds me of is when Walter White buys the machine gun in oh gosh, Breaking Bad, and he buys it at the start of the season. It's like, yeah, what are you gonna do with it? I don't know. And then it resurfaces later.
Yeah.
That show, what was it? Vince Gilligan was the writer.
Yeah, and a creator.
Yeah, yeah, but that dude, his storytelling and foreshadowing game was on point. Um, so perhaps John Favreau borrowed a little bit of that foreshadowing, because Mando himself doesn't even open the armory. It's the blue guy
Hmm.
who's like trying
Which
to escape.
point of contention, if he's gonna escape, dude, there's like a whole shitload of weapons.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean, we don't know that he can't fly a ship. He doesn't. I don't remember that he says that.
no, and
So he could have easily blasted his. He could have killed Mondo. Maybe.
I, I think it's kind of set up that he's more of a coward. And because remember, there's the two dudes in the bar are like going to cut his teeth out or whatever, and he's just trying to pay
Slit
him
his throat.
off. Yeah, and he shows no
Hmm. Hmm.
inkling to fight.
Right.
He's just basically, unless,
Faceless.
yeah, basically, if Mando doesn't show up, he's gonna die because they're not taking his credits or anything.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know, but I mean, we can sit here and say, well, if we were in his position, I'd go ahead and give it a shot. But we're not cowards.
Oh,
that's the
yeah.
thing. We're not trying to pay people to not harm us. So I don't know. But oh man, when Mando uh, is one of the guys runs out of the bar and he like catches him with his little rope launcher and is pulling him in, and that guy shoots Mando, and he's like, "Well, you screwed up," and just pulls his gun and shoots the door and just cuts him in half. Oh,
That
that's
was awesome.
yeah. The show is just awesome, and I know there were some naysayers of the show being produced by Disney Plus, as it wouldn't be.
It's graphic.
Yeah, but I mean, like a dude gets cut in half the
Right.
first episode. I mean, you don't see it. It's not like Saw level.
Well, there's no blood.
There's no blood, but it's still there.
Yeah.
You see his legs fall off.
Hmm.
It's not. Like I said, it's not on like the level of Saw where people are getting ripped in half all the time.
Right.
I don't know what else can we. Oh, I love the score. I have the theme to the Mandalorian on my Spotify. I think it's really good.
That's cool.
Any other closing
Mm,
thoughts?
no, just that next week it's another episode, and we've got more stuff. I kind of remember what's coming.
Hmm
We could say that we've heard about the second season. We don't know when it's premiering, but add additions to the cast.
Yeah.
Uh, Timothy Oliphant from Modesto, one of our favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Tamura Morrison, who's the original Jango Fett in
Yeah.
episode what, three, two,
Two. He shows up in two.
two.
And
Katie Sackhoff from Battlestar Galactica the reboot, and Longmire. She was Vic.
mm-hmm.
That's at least the three biggest names I could think of that are coming. So the stories are gonna get pretty. I think they're gonna be expanded a lot.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Timothy Oliphant plays.
Yeah,
Because I mean, Justified was basically a Western.
yeah, it was.
So I
And then
mean,
he was also in another Western. He was in Deadwood, which was on HBO. He
yeah.
was Sheriff Seth Bullock for like 9 years.
So he fits into that Western
Yep,
type,
space Western.
and
Yep.
just if it's a space Western, whatever, yeah, just play it.
Uh,
Just play it as a Western, and just kind of ignore the space aspect. I mean, obviously it's going to be cool, but if you're just like, yeah, this is a Western, I'm just on a ship instead of a horse,
yeah,
you can
that's
just
pretty
accept
cool.
it. And I think you'll do great.
So next week, or next episode, we will go over episode 2 with you and
Hmm.
see what you. And guys, don't be shy. Comment down below. Let us know what you think about the Mandalorian. Which, if you have a favorite episode, you have a favorite character, anything like that, get involved. We are expanding our online presence to Twitter and to Instagram.
Yeah,
Um, and then you have,
that's my personal one. I don't really want to give that out.
I have WhatsApp, whatever. I don't even know what that is.
It's texting over Wi-Fi, and I guess it's a bit better. I used it once 2 years ago,
Mhm.
so
So anyway, but get involved with us. Let us know. Also, yay or nay, what you think of our opinions, what you think of us, whatever
yeah.
you want to talk about. That's what the comment section is for.
Hmm.
Also, let's move on to before we forget it, and because we're going to go over AEW. Let's go on to this week's
Yeah,
verses.
that's what I was thinking of.
We were talking about the song "Bad Company," the original by the band legendary Bad Company, and then the remake by Five Finger
Death
Death
Punch.
Punch.
Um,
And you've heard both,
I've
and
heard
I've
both.
heard both.
So off the bat, I'm more familiar with the Five Finger Death Punch version. That's the one I'm more comfortable with. Over these last couple of times doing the versus episodes or versus segments, I've learned that I don't like guys that have less powerful voices. Um, and to me, that's the singer of Bad Company. What's his name?
Oh, dude, Paul Rogers, Joe, you are so wrong,
Uh, well,
so wrong.
well, when
He's
I
got one of the best powerhouse voices in rock.
not in that song, he
Legendary.
doesn't.
He's
It's
just singing it higher. That's all.
Yeah,
He's
it's
singing it in higher register. His voice is so powerful. The guy in Five Fingers sounds like he's singing through a toilet.
I disagree. You did not listen to the same song that I did
I did.
because it sounds way better than
Yeah.
that.
I don't like the lyrical change. I don't like. Nah, I don't like it. I like the original. It's way better.
I disagree.
And you're comfortable with the remake there.
I like I like Five Fingers. I think I don't know. I only really heard one lyric change.
There's only one.
Yeah, is he changes from six shooter to shotgun,
Yeah.
which okay, that's minute to me. It's just two different types of
Well, to
guns.
me, because he's equating the musician with a cowboy,
Hmm.
same as Bon Jovi does. Okay. So he's talking about a weapon of choice is going to be a six shooter. You don't see that many cowboy movies where the dude walks around with a shotgun.
True, but I mean, it's not historically inaccurate.
No, no, but there's nothing
Yeah,
to do with historical. It's the
yeah,
context of the song, uh, putting the person in the musician, the singer, the guitarist in the guise of a
cowboy.
cowboy, an outlaw probably, and whatever.
Hmm.
So you always got to have your six shooter by your side or whatever,
Right.
on your hip. You don't walk around with the shotgun all the time, which that's my basis of thinking their lyrical change was stupid. He probably wants to make it sound tougher. I'm a madder ass because I have a shotgun.
Mm,
No, I don't care for it at all. The thing is Five Finger themselves as a
hmm.
band, I like their original material,
Yeah,
but their remakes are crap.
they're pretty good. I really should start learning names of these people, but just not that I not that I actively avoid like, oh, I don't care who they are, I don't want to hear their name. I just have I have an interesting thing with music, and I don't know. I've met a couple people that are kind of the same way, but to me, just because I like one or two or three songs by a band doesn't mean I like everything they've ever done
Also, yeah,
or majority of what they do. So
but I've noticed that you listen to only one or two songs and you don't know anything else that they've done. And I'm
exactly,
like, hey, why don't you listen to the rest of the album?
yeah.
And they're
Well,
like, there's 10 to 12 songs and you're listening to two.
yeah, and I have, and some of them I've liked, and some of them I didn't. I like Metallica. I like a handful of songs, and then I discovered two more because I had a Metallica CD in my car, and I was listening to a few, and I didn't like these ones, and I didn't like those ones. For those of you wondering, it's the "Don't Tread on Me" or as
AKA the
the
Black
Black
Album.
Album. Uh, so I was, which I really like, "Don't Tread on Me." That's a good one. I like "Of Wolf and Man" for obvious reasons, but it's also just really, really good. Um, but
Understand that?
Enter Sandman, though, that's a given. That's that's fine. But so like I don't know, I'm just kind of weird with like I like a handful of songs by Korn. I like my friend Tim. By the way, check him out on YouTube, Timothy Long. He does blacksmithing. He's been up the butt of Slipknot for like the last year. I wouldn't be surprised if he got married to Corey Taylor. Which, by the way, that's the only reason I know his name is because Tim talked about like all that does
And
like
you wouldn't know any other
I
members
don't
name.
know any of the other band members' names. Or
I
yeah,
know a couple.
I so Corey,
But
but so I've kind of gotten into them, and I just very recently I've started listening to some of their songs, and I like them. But that's just like that's me with music. Um, I know like you and several other people give me like, well, for example, Kiss. If we said
well,
Kiss,
yeah, but that's my favorite band.
band. Right, but you can name several albums of Kiss, you can name several albums of Metallica, of Judas Priest or what have you, and I'd be like, I like this, and this song. And that's just kind of me when it comes down to
Hmm.
it. But back to this the verses. I'm more comfortable with uh
The Five Finger.
Finger Death Punch, yeah. I think he sings it a bit better. To me, the difference between the shotgun and the revolver, eh, it's I don't know. I don't.
It's a fundamental change, and I don't
Yeah,
like fundamental changes. Same with
right.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
But
Oh, that was the
also,
thing I was going to bring up. But
also, I like the music better on the original too. I love the piano.
yeah, the piano, I felt missing the piano was a little off, but the music was heavier. But I think a piano could have fit in there.
Well, I'm sure they could have, they could have had a piano on the Five Finger version. They just
Hmm.
chose not to. But the music's only heavier because of time.
Right.
They record, the original was recorded in the 70s.
Oh,
So, you had limitations. They do it great live. Like I said, Paul Rogers, phenomenal vocalist. Did you know he sang for Queen after Freddie Mercury passed?
no, I did not know that.
He was not the first, but he was the first one they toured with.
Mm.
But man, anyway, that's that.
That is that. So that you reminded me. You said Star Trek, and that reminded me. So to go back to the Mandalorian. Now I don't know much about Star Trek because I don't watch it a lot. But what I do know is at some point they invent the universal translator, and it's like an implant in their ear.
Hmm.
Okay, so when they speak, it translates, and they understand it in their language. As far as I'm aware, in the Star Wars universe, that's not really explained how they can walk around, somebody be talking in another language, and then the characters hear it, understand it, and then can speak back to them. Um, as far as like, to me, it's acceptable if it's like Jedi and because I can accept like the Force translates for them. I can get on board with that. But characters like Mando,
I more like I think okay, like Luke can understand R2D2.
right?
I think it's just that it could be a basic fundamental language, and so he knows it.
Hmm.
I don't think it needs to be translated. And Star Trek's unique. The universal translator is unique to the Star Trek universe. I think
Right.
with any other uh, space sci-fi movie, it's just a given that we're listening. What was that movie with? We're listening to them speak. They supposedly speak it in their own language, but we're hearing it in English.
That was Star Wars. I brought that up.
But no, there was that movie with Tom Cruise where he's speaking German, but then later it translated. He's writing a letter and he's speaking in German because he's German,
Hmm.
but then it just kind of translates into English. So we see them.
Hmm.
They're Valkyrie,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah,
and where they were, he starts out, he's writing the letter in German, and it just translates into English.
yeah.
I
Hmm.
think that's kind of a given with sci-fi movies. We
Well,
can hear them in English because we're meant to hear them in
right.
English,
Well,
or
that's
else there'd have to be like subtitles for every
right.
character.
Well, and that's not exactly what I'm talking about. So, like, for example, Anakin builds C-3PO and programs him with like over 6,000 forms of communication,
Isn't
and
it 2 million?
or something. No, it's 6,000. And he can translate. Like for example, when they're on Endor, the moon of Kashyyyk, right? Yeah. Um, Luke can't speak to the Ewoks, but C-3PO can,
Hmm.
right? And then, so if we look at the opening scene of The Mandalorian, that alien that's doing all the talking, he's speaking in his own language, and we see subtitles, right?
Until it gets to the part where it says, "Oh no!" It even they
Yeah,
translate the part where it says, "You spilled my drink."
drink, right, right. And then so the Mandalorian comes in, and that guy keeps is talking to him, and we don't know if Mando understands him or not. It's not really shown, but from his lack of response, it prompts the bartender to say,
Right.
translate it.
Stunt casting. Bartender was The Rock's dad in Walking Tall, which we
Yeah,
just watched a few days ago.
right. So I don't know. I mean, some kind of explanation. Maybe his helmet translates, but again, like I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thing. But that's all we're gonna say
And
about that.
then I like Bad Company. You like Five Finger.
And yeah.
Um,
Also, and I know Hollywood Undead did it, but that doesn't excuse it. Why name a song after your band? Because
because
that
maybe
makes
the song has to do with the identity of the band.
yeah. Because it's very confusing. What song you listening to? Oh, Bad Company. What band did it? Bad Company. What song you listening to? Hollywood Undead. Oh, who did it? Hollywood Undead.
Yeah,
That's slightly confusing. It's like
you.
what song are you listening to? Kiss. Oh, who did it? Kiss.
Yeah.
Like why? That's I don't know. But I don't have any other thoughts on the songs
Okay.
or Mandalorian.
So we can move on to AEW Dynamite and
Yeah,
Dark. Dark, I just totally forgot. I don't know. I'd have to be prompted, but last night's Dynamite was off the hook again.
yeah, they
Constant, man. Constant.
they're killing it over there. The production level, the writing, the creative team is just where it's at.
The opening match was the big
Wardlow,
boys, Luchasaurus
Luchasaurus,
and
and
Wardlow,
Wardlow
which I've been asking for.
in a lumberjack match, which was interesting. But I like it. I didn't like because like it started off, they ran at each other and they like bumped shoulders and they just kind of bounced off. I was like, oh yeah, and then Wardlow just kind of manhandled Luchasaurus a lot, and I was like, oh, that's a little weird. But
But Luchasaurus got back in there.
but he got back
And
into it.
before you trip on that, we're talking about that. It was a lumberjack match, but not really, because they only have three sides to their ring,
Yeah.
and they only had them on the left and right side.
Hmm.
They didn't have anybody in the front.
Right.
Usually, there's supposed to be at least 16 guys that surround the ring. Well, they
Hmm.
can't surround the ring here because it's only three sided,
Nice.
and for
Right.
whatever reason, they didn't have anybody up in front. but then they just really got into it. And
Yeah.
Luchasaurus is, I guess, they say it's his the tail whip
Hmm.
spinning kicks are due to his martial
His
arts
marksman.
background.
Yeah. Oh, I can see it. Oh my gosh, I can see it. His different kicks that he employs, the way he moves. Oh yeah, that dude's definitely a martial artist.
Yeah, and Wardlow's just a big dude. It was only about, I think, 10 pounds
Difference. Yeah.
difference, 10 to 20 pounds difference between them.
Less than that. Luchasaurus was two.
Well, I thought it was he weighed 263, and Ward no, yeah, and Ward no Wardlow's 263, and Lucha was 273. I
Yeah,
think,
somewhere around.
and so there was like 10 pounds difference,
That's
not that
also
much
a
height difference.
yeah. That's a big guy,
Those are
by the way.
both big dudes,
Yeah.
man, and that's what I've been waiting for is to see it. That was
Uh,
awesome.
Jungle Boy spearing the hell out of MJF.
Oh, that was in the ensuing
Yeah, brawl
yeah,
afterwards.
because MJF cheated, or
Wardlow
he
cheated.
helped Wardlow
Yeah.
cheat.
So Luchasaurus had the match won. MJF did a distracted the ref, and Wardlow hit a low blow, and then his F10 to win, right?
Hmm.
Um, and then so a brawl was gonna start, but like before that, we just watched Jungle Boy run and just like spear MJF off the ring apron into the ground. Oh my gosh,
How
did that
about
look good?
Luchasaurus's standing
And
shooting
shooting
star
star
press
press,
onto
yeah,
all of them? Now you notice he signaled them.
yeah. He was going like this,
Yeah,
like
like,
he was giving
hey,
a
I'm gonna do this, so you guys get ready to
wouldn't
catch
you
me.
wouldn't you want to
Oh
signal
yeah.
if a 6'9", two
Well, you
seventy
want to
three
try to make
pound,
it. You want
yeah,
to try to make it a little more subtle,
right, but
but he did let him know he was coming. And when Wardlow threw Marco
oh
Stunt,
yeah, he just
dude, Marco Stunt got air like higher than
yeah,
Jordan.
yeah, just
So that was,
woo.
and somebody, Chris Van Vliet, brought it up in his interview with Spike Dudley
Hmm.
that I don't know who industry people are saying, oh, Marco Stunt is just the new Spike Dudley, which, I mean, I don't know about that. It just means he's a little guy.
Yeah.
That's all that it means. Rey
Hmm.
Mysterio is a little guy. Him and Spike Dudley are like the same size. So,
Right. And it's funny, we call them little, but they're just like average people,
well, they're
basically.
our size.
Yeah, which is the average height.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the average height for males is 5'7". But like wrestlers un
Usually you're 6 foot and up
yeah, a lot like basketball players where they start at a
because
certain
they're 7 feet and up.
yeah, they start at 7 feet and they go up, and they're huge, tall guys. And then you get a normal dude in there, and he looks like that big,
Hmm.
right? And so that's the same thing with wrestling. They start at 6 foot and they go up. So when you get people like Marco Stunt or actually even Jungle Boy and
And number whatever number. I think he's number 8 in the Dark Order,
yeah,
which I think could be Marco
Marco
Stunt.
Stunt, and then you get Rey Mysterio, who's 5'8", AJ Styles, who is also 5'8", but he doesn't really
I
look
don't think Mysterio's 5'8".
as or Mysterio is 5'5". I'm
Yeah.
sorry. And then like you get somebody like AJ Styles who's also 5'8". Um, they don't look that small comparatively. But when you're in a ring with 6'9", 6'8", 273,
Hmm.
263, you look
Yeah.
incredibly small. But he's just like
And
normal.
then was that no, that wasn't the same one. The other brawl. I mean, there's a lot of brawling going on.
Hmm.
Donnybrook, Slobberknockers, whatever JR wants to call them.
Yeah.
Then I think I was outside. So was the next match after that was that Hikaru Shida and Black and Red Velvet,
Yeah,
the second match?
that was the next match, which Sheeta completely squashed Red Velvet, but
And there was
um,
a reason.
there was a
She
reason.
was pissed.
Yeah, because Penelope Ford hit her, so she went in there, did her match, did what she needed to do, and went out and
It's like, because the ref was like, hey, your match is in there. You need to go in.
yeah,
And she was like, I'll be right back.
yeah,
Went in there, squashed Red Velvet, and then went back out and attacked Penelope Ford and Kip
maybe
Sabian.
yeah. So we talked, or I talked about this a while ago. We were talking about people having managers and like speaking for them and everything. And I said, Sheeta doesn't need anybody to speak for her. Actions speak louder than words. She doesn't need to speak either. She just needs to go out there and do her thing. And I mean,
And this was a good example of
that
that.
especially when she lays out Kip Sabian, he gets in the way, she decks him one, and he just crumples to the ground. Like,
Also, well, and I've said this before, I think, I don't like them pushing Penelope Ford.
yeah,
She's not a wrestler. She's no good.
you
She,
don't.
you know, she interferes on Sabian's behalf. She can do a couple of rolls and she can do a couple of head scissor takeovers, but she's not a wrestler.
So would you say she's the AEW equivalent of Trish Stratus?
No, Trish
No.
Stratus is
What
a
is
legend. You're
what's the
thinking of Dana Brooke.
no, not Dana Brooke. There
Actually,
was
Dana Brooke's a good wrestler. They just won't let her wrestle.
it's what was the girl that they hired? Because it was back when they were doing the diva search, and it was like if you're hot, basically you get to
It was all of
show
them.
up. Yeah, but there was like one that I was thinking of that they like brought in, and it's like she can't wrestle whatsoever, whatever, but she's just good looking.
Eva, what's her face with the red
Mende
hair?
Eva Mendez,
No, Eva, what was her name?
Marie.
Yeah, Eva Marie. Is that who you're thinking of?
Yeah, no, because it was way back when they were doing diva search when I was like less than 10.
Well, there was a whole bunch
I
of
don't
them back
know,
then. But
but
anyway,
are you
anyway,
saying that she's the equivalent to
mm,
that?
or less. I mean, I don't think she can wrestle worth it. She couldn't wrestle her way out of a wet sack. She must have a ton of Instagram followers and social media followers for the back office to decide we're going to push her as a hot commodity. That way, she gets more TV time and more people put eyes on the product. That's got to be it. And Tony Khan, if you're listening, dude, no bueno. She's crap. Stick with the wrestlers that you have, female wrestlers that you have. Speaking of female wrestlers, Britt Baker, best heel in the business right now, bar
Hmm.
none. She's awesome. But yeah, and then so since the Sheeta match was a squash match, and
Yeah.
the others, but they're building the story to Fighter Fest of her and
Hmm.
Penelope Ford, so that doesn't really take that much long to take.
Right.
So the next match was
Was Dark Order
no,
against? Yeah, it was.
no. Next was FTR and SCU,
They
wasn't
were
it?
after Dark Order.
I don't remember
So
them being
it
that
was,
soon.
yeah. So it was Dark Order with Colt Cabana against Sonny Kiss and Joey
Joey Janela.
Janela.
Now Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss's video that they showed before the match
Yeah, it was
was
great.
awesome.
I
How they
loved
were
it.
doing the. It was like here's his fist in real time, and then they got it to slow motion, and then
Right. Oh, I will say before that, they had the Fighter Fest official conference or
oh
whatever.
the press conference, yeah.
Yeah, that did not interest me at all. I was on my phone. That
But
was boring.
but Cody is good. His promos are good.
Yeah, his promo was fine, and I get like what he was talking about. He acknowledged that it's like, yeah, this TNT belt isn't finished. It's public knowledge, and it represents hope. And he's like, I go by the American Nightmare, but I still believe in the dream. Like that's fine. The thing as a whole was boring, and I was on my cell phone. I was not into it at all.
And then Jake Hager walked in with his wife.
If and he,
Nobody else. Like the whole like Cody had the whole Nightmare family
right,
plus two guys that had never seen before.
and Shane
It was like, yeah, that dude holding the belt, we don't know who he was. And
McMahon.
then the other guy that was standing next to Penelope Ford or Allie with
Yeah,
his hair pulled, maybe that was Allie's husband. I don't know.
I don't know, but
Uh, QT Marshall wasn't there, even though he's in the Nightmare family because QT caught. Well, he didn't catch the COVID, but
no,
he was exposed to somebody who had
he
symptoms.
was
So the doctor told him, "Yeah, just stay
stay
home,"
home, and he listened to
and
him.
he listened and he stayed home. So that was
But
cool.
yeah. So like I said, as a whole, that thing was boring.
I
I
like,
wasn't into
and it will see, and always in those things, if you see them in the UFC, if you see them in boxing, and wrestling too, when they have those things, it's set up for we're going to get face to face, then we're going to get pissed at each other, we're going to fight to
it.
get you
Hmm.
all excited. They didn't do that. It was funny. Hager just went up here and he laid his fist on the side of Cody's face for a couple of
Hmm.
seconds. Cody kind of looked down, kind of smiled, and then they got in his face, and then Hager turned and walked away.
Yeah,
So there was no fighting, and then his wife threw water in
water.
his face,
Hmm.
and it wasn't urine.
Yeah, and then what I did. So Hager was like walking off stage, and he just like threw the water into the air. Like I didn't understand. Like he didn't even throw it back, like
No, he
backwards.
just
He
was
just
like, I'm
threw
out
it
of here.
forward.
But
Like
his wife was like,
yeah.
and then that,
So
of course, that got Dustin, and that got Brandy.
Hmm.
Brandy, of course, wanted to whoop ass, and Dustin's like, "Get her off the stage! Get her
Yeah.
off the stage!"
Um, when and then immediately follows is the Joey Janela and Sunny Kiss, not
Promo video
promo video, and that was
fight at the
leagues.
gas station.
Yeah, that was like leagues more entertaining. Like from the beginning of them sitting in the car, and I don't remember if Janela says anything, but Sunny Kiss is like, hey, like you're still the bad boy, like we all have like ruts, or I forget exactly what Sunny says, but he tells him like you're still the bad boy, like
Hmm.
everything, and then like from there I was already interested, and then they pull up to the gas station, and the I guess the thugs or whatever, that they're checking out Sonny's ride, and I was like, oh, can we touch it? And I don't know, I must have missed something. I may have been replying to a message, but I forget why the brawl starts.
Oh, because they all get around him, and then like they all get a crowd next to him because hey, basically they want to steal the car, and so it's like, hey, I don't want no trouble. And they're like, well, that's something like, well, you found it or something.
Oh, okay,
And then they just go, they bum rush him, but he like does a splits and
but
then
yeah,
punches that dude in the nuts.
right, and it's like
And then
it's
they cut to Janela inside, like trying on
sunglasses.
sunglasses.
He's getting
He's
the
buying
uh, Lunchables.
Lunchables. He had like when
Yeah,
he came out, he was eating a microwave burrito,
burrito.
and he sees a fight, so he like drops it and runs over to help
Yeah.
him.
I like he takes the bag of what I presume was Lunchables and like
Yeah,
smacks the dude in the face.
yeah.
That was pretty cool. And like also it's interesting that they take just these two, I don't want to say polar opposites,
Mismatched.
mismatched, and then it's like, but you buy into their friendship.
Yeah. Well, because like, okay, Joey Janela started out pretty hot. He
Hmm.
wrestled Moxley
Right.
back in last year, and then he, I don't know, he just kind of went away. He
Yeah.
just kind of got shuffled to the back. So what do you do when you get shuffled to the back? You got to find a way to get yourself out to the front. So him or whoever came up with the idea of putting him together with
Sunny Kiss.
Sonny
That
Kiss,
may
who's
have been.
obviously flamboyantly gay, and he's an out wrestler, and they make no bones about it. That's part of their deal over there is they want to have gay wrestlers, they want to have transgender wrestlers, they want to have
Hmm.
whatever that they can.
Right.
It's open to anybody over there, even aliens from outer space.
That's right. I mean, and I don't know. I want to say that some people have. I haven't met anybody who's had a problem with it. I for sure don't have a problem with it. I really enjoy that they're open to that, and that they're they're able to say I'm such and such
I just don't
wrestler.
like his shorts.
Hey, that's fair.
I don't want to see his butt.
But like if you look at another company, say WWE, I can't remember which wrestler it is, but
There,
she keeps the pride flag in her back
oh,
pocket.
that's from Liv Morgan
And
from the Riot Squad.
right, is it Sonya Deville?
Yeah, Sonya
Okay,
Deville.
so I do remember her name, but I think I I never worked for WWE. I only have heard stories and like backstage kind of stuff, and I would assume that it was a huge fight for her just to have that flag.
Maybe not so much now as it was before. I mean, there's still reports of closeted gay wrestlers that are not going to say.
Hmm.
The last look at the last one that outed himself. It was Darren Young.
Hmm.
What happened with Darren Young after that?
Yeah,
Nothing.
nothing.
He's
Yeah.
just the Black John Cena,
Hmm.
and he's gone. He doesn't wrestle there no more.
Yeah. So I think it's great that they're being inclusive like that, and they're like, yeah, sure. If you want to make it part of your character, go
And then
ahead.
I think there's some people that want to say they still haven't done enough, but
Yeah,
hey, they have an openly gay wrestler, they have an openly transgender wrestler.
wrestler. Yeah,
Do you see that in any other companies right now?
not that
No,
I'm aware of. No.
no. So
Um,
I'm good with that. If they, and they don't, Sunny Kiss is flamboyant,
mhm.
but it's not flamboyantly. because of his gayness, he's just flamboyant.
Like that's his character.
And Nyla is transgender, but she doesn't say I'm the toughest transgender person.
No,
She's just there. She's just a person.
right.
She's just Nyla Rose. So it's cool. They don't. They're. It's not an agenda. It's not
Yeah,
a mission to make you
yeah,
accept.
yeah.
You
They're
can
there.
like them or you can not like
Yeah.
them.
Speaking of liking, I don't know if he has a name for it, but he does the splits off of the turnbuckle. I don't know if Sonny Kiss has a name for that move. If I've just missed it every time he's done it, but I think that's really cool. That's like a fun.
Maria Bennett or Canales
It's,
used to
huh?
do it, and it was called the fire crotch.
Well, I don't know if it's called the same thing, but I think that's like really cool. An interesting move that they do, and I'm not sure how
A
I.
double team move.
Yeah, it's a double team. I'm not sure how I feel about it because to me it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of impact. But Sonny Kiss does a handstand, and then Joey Janela
Oh, grabs
takes
his
his
leg,
foot and like does.
smacks him with it,
I don't know if there's a whole lot of impact to that,
but it
or
looks cool.
I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about that, but I like their double missile drop kicks. That's really fun.
And we talked all about that, but the Dark Order ended up on top.
They did.
Mr. Brody Lee and Colt Cabana.
Yeah, that was an
I mean,
interesting.
there was a lot of back and forth. So there was a lot of
Yeah,
escapes, but when it came down to it, Brody Lee kicked the crap out of
Janela.
Janela, but then he let Colt
We're
Cabana
gonna
take
take
the
the
pin. He
pin.
was like, "Here you go.
Yeah, laid him
There's
out.
your pin. Go for it."
Yeah,
And Colt Cabana's reaction was, "I got to win.
yeah. It was.
Finally, I got to win. That's cool. Great."
Yeah.
And then uh, 3 and 4
Hmm.
were like smiling underneath their masks and clapping
Clapping.
for him. It's like,
Right.
yeah, dude, you did it. You got to win.
Hmm.
So is Colt Cabana going to join?
I hope so, and I'm thinking he's going to because it's we've been seeing the stop losing, right? Join the Dark Order, you won't be
Become
a
a winner.
loser, all of that kind of stuff, and now it's like we've kind of seen it play out. We kind of haven't, like some of them have still
I mean,
gotten
they
just
have lost.
they have lost, and people have gotten destroyed by Moxley and everything. But then
But I
Colt Cabana's been on a losing streak,
no,
right?
he's not.
And then he gets his first
And now they're
win.
challenging. Who are they challenging at Fighter
They're
Fest?
taking on the
SEU.
SEU, yeah. And even Cabana was like
I was
SEU,
like, wait a minute. Like,
and
whoa.
Brody Lee was like, "Oh, it's
And
fine."
then think about that, because Christopher Daniels was one of the rumored leaders of
And
the SC of
you,
the Dark Order,
right?
and they swerved that all over the place. So it's there's a history there. There's already an established backstory. That is the one thing
Yeah.
that AEW has is their established long stories.
Hmm.
Just like I'll skip ahead to Adam. What we found out about Hangman Adam Page and his drinking gimmick is it stems from his loss
To
at
Jericho,
at Double or Nothing
yeah.
to Jericho, where he didn't win the title, where everybody hyped him as he's going to be the first champ. He's going to be the first champ,
Hmm.
and then they put the strap on Jericho, and supposedly that's where it sent him down into a
Spiral,
spiral of his alcoholism, and we saw that in an interview with Hangman Page. Was it
unrestricted,
on an unrestricted podcast? So
yeah,
that's where he gave us that nugget. We're like, oh wow, we didn't even know that.
yeah. That's
So
cool.
we're
Um,
talking about that's over a year ago.
right.
So that's awesome.
I do like in the Dark Order match, um, Brody Lee or Mr. Brody Lee is in. You can see him instructing Cabana from the outside.
Just yawning.
Oh, I thought you had a sneeze. He's instructing Colt Cabana from the outside, like telling him, "Hey, do this, do that."
He also pushed him out of
Out of
harm's
his
way
way, yeah.
when Sonny Kiss was going to do a
Dive,
dive out. He pushed Cabana out of the way and took the hit.
yeah.
So that was cool.
Also, I liked it whenever Brody Lee entered the ring, whatever Joey Janela or Sonny Kiss threw at him, like meant nothing. He just would lay him out, throw him around, just be a big, powerful guy. and then Colt Cabana would go
And
in
then
there, and it would be
interesting
a
too
back and
was
forth.
okay if Cabana joins, um, but then what happens down the road because we have seen members lose.
Hmm.
What if he does get a couple of more losses and he's going to be like, "This isn't exactly what I thought it was.
Right.
I need to fight my way out of this, or do I?" Or
Right. Yeah.
the
We have no
possibility.
idea where this is going to go.
Yeah, the possibility for a cool storyline is there. So that's just so cool.
Yeah, but I am
Um,
excited to see where it does
and
go.
then when after they won and they were all leaving, they Brody Lee just put up his finger like this, like we won, and I'm out the tunnel. But then that's when Lance Archer came out of nowhere and
And,
attacked Sonny and
and Joey.
Joey, and then um, but Cabana was still on the ramp, and he was looking like, "Hey, are we supposed to go down and help these guys, or
Mm-hmm.
what do we do?" And then he ended up leaving, but he decked Sonny first, and then it was funny because he was on the other end of the ring, and he was going to turn around. He slowly turned around. Janelle is waiting there with a chair and throws it at him, and it doesn't even phase him.
Yeah, he's just like whatever.
It's like it's like it pissed him off. It was like you
Yeah.
asshole, and then he just kicked the crap
Yeah.
out of him.
Also, I will say about Lance Archer, I think he's cool. I like his gimmick. I don't think he should have lost to Cody, but can he just pick a nickname? What's your nickname? Murder Hawk Monster.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
It's just like it takes forever. Like,
Are you going somewhere? Are you in a
no,
hurry? I can't say more than two
I need to
syllables.
watch wrestling. Like, come on, man. I don't need the Dapper Yapper sitting there saying 50 names just for this dude to wrestle.
Yeah,
You just like just, come on, let's go. Like Murder Hawk, Murder Monster, Monster, whatever.
Hawk
Like
Monster.
Hawk Monster, just Murder Hawk Monster. Like just why?
I don't know
Um,
where he came up with that.
like for example, Colt Cabanas. He's just like it's Colt, boom, boom, Cabana, and you're done, and you're in, and you're done. That's it. But I don't know. I don't like that. His
Yeah, but that's four names:
yeah, it's
Colt, Boom,
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 Cabana.
Cabana,
But you see how fast it is.
Boom, Boom,
Boom,
Colt,
Colt
Cabana,
Cabana.
Boom,
But
Boom.
anyways, I do hope he turns because like uh,
That'd be an interesting turn. He's been a good guy all his life. I don't think I've ever seen any
and
heel matches with
and I
him.
and I said like I said before, you see him.
Even his match with David Arquette,
Yeah,
he wasn't he really wasn't heel. He was like, "Oh, this is your guy. Oh, this guy,"
right,
but that really wasn't heelish. That was more like, "I'm a wrestler. This guy's not a wrestler."
right. Which we can talk about real fast. David Arquette, how he's trying to get respect back for being a wrestler. If you guys don't know, there's a great movie called Ready to Rumble.
And it was the WCW wrestling movie.
Yeah,
You know that WWE doesn't have a wrestling movie.
like akin to like Ready to
Yeah,
Rumble.
where
Huh?
it's like all their
Is
superstars
that-
show.
Yeah,
They've had their superstars, because you can't call them wrestlers,
right.
make movies, but
Mm-hmm.
none of them about wrestling. Wait, I think there's the Big Show's movie has a wrestling scene in it. I
Mm.
think. What was that called? Crybaby, Big
Pinhead,
Baby.
Pinhead.
No, not Pinhead.
I don't know. But I mean, Ready to Rumble is, I mean, it's a silly wrestling movie, which is what you would expect from a wrestling movie. Um,
Well, it's not going to be an action movie.
yeah, but I mean, it's still really great. There's a nice story to it. Comedy. David Arquette is great.
Sting,
Pretty much the entire
Goldberg
WCW
at
roster.
the time,
Yeah,
around 2000.
DDP,
Yeah.
Booker T,
Yep.
just all kinds of people, and of course the fictionalized wrestler of
Jimmy King,
King, Jimmy King. Um,
played by Oliver Platt.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And like he was fun because he's the heel. He's got his heel rap as the king. Of course, it's David Arquette. What's his friend? I can't remember.
I don't remember who the other
But
guy
they're like
was.
that's their favorite
Oh, wait,
wrestler.
it's Scott Conn, isn't it?
I think so. And they
Yeah,
like they want to go see him, and
I have that soundtrack somewhere.
yeah, it's all great. But the thing is where people got pissed about it
It's when they were promoting
in it,
it.
and David Arquette,
They had David Arquette win the
you know,
title, the world
you know,
title on
Nitro.
Nitro or Thunder or whichever one it
Yeah,
was.
and that pissed a lot of people off.
And he was like, "You don't understand. I'm a huge wrestling
Okay.
nerd,
Yeah, and
you know,
so he's been wrestling in the Indies
for the last couple of
years
years."
as was the Candyman.
I don't remember what his name
I think
was.
it was like David the Candyman Arquette, I
I don't
want to
know, but
say.
he's on a mission. There's a
Yeah.
documentary about it.
Yeah, he's
Um,
trying to get back into, or he wants to get respect back as he's an actual wrestler. He beat Colt Cabana with a hangman cutter. Um,
okay. Also, I'm gonna skip on something. Since we did an Avengers special, I think it's only fair we do a wrestling special. There's a few different documentaries we need to watch and to see what's going on so that we can talk about that. So that'll
mhm.
be an upcoming
Okay, we can do that.
episode.
Um,
Let's go back to AEW though.
right. So the Dark Order match was great. After that was SCU against FTR.
FTR,
That was good. That was a long match too.
and that had some of the best tag team wrestling
Hmm.
you've ever seen. Their tag team division is so flippin' stacked. Even the guys that aren't on TV right now, the Hybrid 2,
Hmm.
I think there's somebody else that's missing that we haven't seen in a while. But we got the Best Friends, you've got the Lucha Brothers, you've got Young Bucks and FTR, Butcher and the Blade are making a big show right now.
Hmm.
Um,
Proud and powerful.
Proud and Powerful are
The
excellent. They've been dishing that out on Dark, man.
hmm
They have been just kicking everybody's
SCU,
ass.
the Dark Order. Did we say the Young Bucks?
Yeah, there's a developmental. I'm calling Dark. Maybe they're developmental. You know, they're in it. It's their NXT. These guys that just came out a couple of weeks ago, Sin and Money, but I forgot what their team name is. But they got like these knockoff Road Warrior shoulder pad outfits
Hmm.
on. But the one dude wears like an Australian cowboy hat, and he's got a mustache.
I completely missed those
No,
guys.
you saw him. I'll
I
show
don't
him to
remember
you.
that at
And
all.
then the other guy's shorter, stockier African American guy with a headband on, and
Hmm.
it says, I think his says Sin on it, or maybe it says Money, but that's what they're called, Sin and Money.
Hmm.
Oh, they're called Capital Vices.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, those guys they're on their way. They're
Hmm.
they're learning how to
Oh,
gel as a team.
Private
Also,
Party.
Private Party. Also, Musa and
Ali.
yeah, Musa and something Ali have been teaming together for a while, and they're
Hmm.
starting. I mean, dude, so their main roster tag teams are just stacked with the best dudes in the business.
Hmm.
The only team missing from there, I think, would be like if they could get the Briscoes from Ring of Honor.
Hmm.
You'll have to see some of their online matches, dude. Those dudes are phenomenal too. But I mean, they've got all the best dudes over here, and
Hmm.
their developmental guys are coming along really nicely. They've got a bunch of guys tagging together that are trying to say, okay, let's put this guy with this guy. Let's see what we can get out of it.
Hmm.
And so it's so great that they're making tag team wrestling the focus. You know, they've
Hmm.
got your singles wrestlers, and then your women's now, and then finally they're also working on the women's division, which I think they're lacking
A
a
veteran.
veteran in there to give them some direction.
Hmm.
Not only a veteran performer, but also a backstage producer and
Hmm.
mentor and creative person too. Because I think now Brandy Rhodes is the figurehead. She doesn't run the women's event. I think she just does some hiring maybe. And so I think the trainer is I think it's Billy Gunn. I think
Hmm.
he's training the women and somebody else. I remember hearing the name, but I don't. It could be Dean Malenko. I'm
Hmm.
not sure. So they need a woman trainer over
Like
there.
Lita or
Yeah,
Mickey James or
somebody. Yeah, yeah. If they could get Mickey James, that'd be cool. Somebody to give them some direction. Somebody that's been around for a while. Even Victoria would be cool.
hmm
Um, they need help on their mics. They need help just generally. This thing with Sheeta and Penelope Ford, even though I don't like Penelope Ford, it's at least a story.
right,
It's at least we have something. We have animosity to build up to Fighter Fest. So
right. So back to FTR against SCU. That was a really good match. It was really long. Um, I like it. I like that FTR is coming out
Now, I
strong.
don't know how long they've been around, but I know that Kazarian and Daniels have been teaming for like 20 years,
Yeah.
in different forms in different companies. They've been together for a long time, so they're pretty symbiotic as far as knowing what the other one's going to do. So their moves are pretty smooth.
Hmm.
FTR has been together. I don't know. I guess they've been around 5 or 6 years, maybe 10.
Hmm.
But they're new to TV, and you can see it. But still, they are out there to kick some
Yeah,
ass.
they're doing really good. And they won their match as they should have. I think if you're going to come out and you're trying to put the locker room on notice, you're trying to, well, I guess intimidate
Yeah,
the
and
tag division. You can't lose.
what was funny too is that Dax Harwood starts naming off all the teams, but there
Hmm.
was a couple that he didn't mention, so they decided to make themselves known.
You're right, Butcher and
Uh,
Blade.
Butcher and Blade, who I'm starting to like a little bit better now that they're speaking, they're getting out there and they're causing shenanigans.
Hmm.
Them being in FTR's truck was cool, and then I think and then the Lucha Brothers appeared, which is
Right.
they're back from. Well, Phoenix was injured, and I think Pentagon Junior was quarantined in Mexico. Um, but they're back, and you forget how good of a tag team they are too.
I never forgot,
And
but
so it's like the only thing I thought that they turned around too soon. They should have turned around until they were prompted by Blade.
Blade, yeah. You know.
But but that was cool. Then they all jumped in the truck and took off. The heels took
Hmm.
off in the truck. Now our FTR heels,
Maybe just anti-heroes.
yeah, twins.
Was there another match after that?
The face off, I think.
Oh no, it was Matt Hardy
Oh yeah,
against Santana.
Matt Hardy against Santana.
Yeah, yeah.
Was
Ortiz was on the
supposed to
outside.
be Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara, but Sammy Guevara's in a little bit of hot water right now
Yeah, we don't need to talk
for
about that.
something that happened 4 years ago.
That he's also apologized and like smoothed things over, but
Yeah.
whatever. We're
So
not in charge.
he's gone for a little bit until they figure out what they want to do with him.
Hmm.
So we got Santana against Matt Hardy, which is cool because Matt Hardy is a versatile wrestler, a veteran.
Hmm.
He's a tag specialist. He's a singles wrestler. Santana and Ortiz, I don't remember seeing them wrestle separately when they were in Impact as LAX.
Hmm.
It might have happened. I don't know, but we saw that Santana can go as a singles wrestler,
Hmm.
and it was a good fight.
And
He gave Matt Hardy a pretty good run for his money
yeah, ultimately lost to Matt Hardy, but not from Matt Hardy didn't hit the twist of fate. I mean, he hit the side effect
a couple of times.
3 times, I want to say, and Santana kicked out. So which shows him as strong. So basically, and Matt Hardy won by reversing a pin and
Hmm.
just holding on a little bit longer, and
Hmm.
that's what led him to a win. And then of course they beat him down afterwards, and then Marco Quinn and oh, they even said his name, and now I can't remember it.
It's Isaiah Cassidy
Isaiah
and Mark
Cassidy.
Quinn.
Thank you. So Private Party came down to the aid of Matt Hardy, chased off Santana and Ortiz. But again, Santana didn't lose because
Weekly.
yeah, he didn't get hit with a twist of fate. He didn't tap out. Matt Hardy reversed a pin and just held on to it a little longer
Hmm.
than Santana. So that was another good match. And then it was
The face off
Cassidy and
between
Jericho.
Orange Cassidy and Jericho did what you love for him to do,
Yeah, Jericho did what he was supposed to do. Well, no, he's not supposed to do it.
what you love for him
Him
to
to
do.
do is he pointed out
He
like
put down
he was putting
Cassidy.
down Cassidy, like talking about how lame and stupid his gimmick is, but at the same time, he still got him over.
Yeah,
He still got him over. It was great, and to see Cassidy kick Jericho's ass after like so he's doing the thing like Jericho told him, oh, don't do your stupid kick things because, I'll knock your teeth down your throat. So Cassidy took the mic, laid it on the ground,
and did it
did it,
anyway.
and then Jericho broke the Ray-Bans, which, pissed off Orange Cassidy, and he did a takedown,
And then
and
just
just started wailing on him, and they kind of fought through the crowd. Jericho somewhat turned the tide when he hit him with
the camera boom.
the camera broom, yeah. But then even that didn't help him because Cassidy came back and was like smacked his head into a rail a bunch of times, and then like
He came with
punched
that
him into the
running.
future.
Yeah, he like came running down the steps, and JR was like, "Where's he going? We're
Yeah,
almost out of time." And
right.
then he turned around and just launched a Superman punch and freaking knocked Jericho
Jericho,
into next week. He
yeah,
knocked him into Fighter
yeah,
Fest.
that's right. That's when we'll see Jericho again is
Yeah,
Fighter Fest.
and so it was awesome. Overall episode was. I would
Hmm.
like to see a second women's match.
Yeah, that would
I
have
would
been
have
nice
liked to see a second
because
women's
Sheeta's
match.
wasn't very long,
No, it was a squash.
and it was for story reasons, which is fine. You
Now I
know,
did see. I think I seen Kylan King in the audience, and then there was another redhead girl, but it wasn't Red Velvet because she was killed, but it was another redhead girl out in the crowd. So I don't know.
hmm,
And then okay, we had wrestlers on this side, wrestlers on this, but they did have people in the seats a
they
lot
did,
more this week
yeah,
than in previous
and they're
weeks.
keeping them away from the
But they're keeping
wrestlers.
them way, way back in the
Yeah.
seats. That place, that's like some kind of an amphitheater.
Well, it's where Tony Khan owns it. It's where they have the what football team does he
Yeah,
own?
but that's on the other side. That's the
Yeah.
stadium.
Hmm.
The stadium's on that side. This is an amphitheater called
Oh,
Daly's Place.
right. Okay.
And it's I'm sure it's concerts and stuff like that, but the seating is so cool that it goes way, way out. And so
Hmm.
they let the fans come in, but they sat them way, way back out.
Yeah.
But Jericho and Cassidy were able to go through that crowd, and you got
Hmm.
to see some people booing Jericho to his face and all that kind of
Right.
thing. But man, that was so
And
awesome.
thank you, Jericho, for putting over somebody like Orange Cassidy,
And it's cool that he was attached to best friends
who's
for the last 6, 8 months
hmm,
or longer, and now it looks like he's going to get a singles push.
right. I mean, he still uses the best friends theme, and it just says, on the
Yeah,
graphic
it's
says
his
Orange
name.
Cassidy. But I mean, it's cool. Well, and I think it's cool that he uses the best friends theme because so for other people it doesn't make sense when they're like, for example, Santana and Ortiz are part of the inner circle, although now they have their own entrance music. That they would just use the inner circles
Which
or
I
like
think they should.
and the
I
inner
think it shows
circles.
uniform,
Yeah, the inner circle comes out to the inner circles theme, but then sometimes Jericho comes out
his theme.
to his own theme. Um, Now, for me, Orange Cassidy using the uh, the best friends theme just plays into his lazy gimmick a little bit more. I don't need my own theme
He's too
music.
lazy to get his own theme
Yeah, I don't
song.
need my own theme music. I already have this one. So I like that a lot.
Okay, let's go to a couple of items that I wanted
Oh,
to
okay. Well, real
tell
fast.
you.
Before we do that,
Okay,
I
go ahead,
I
man.
had one more. Like, thank you, Jericho, for putting over Orange Cassidy. I'm fully convinced that not only can
Oh,
Orange
where'd it go?
Cassidy beat Jericho, but he will. I think him punching him, Superman punching him through a table and like a TV monitor landing on him, and Orange Cassidy standing tall, quite literally. I think is just going to be great, and I think when they meet at Fighter Fest, it's not going to be all Orange Cassidy, but Cassidy's going to come out
Okay, so there was a couple of items that I read in here was that they are looking at Marvels and discussions to make a Scarlet Witch solo movie, which could possibly feature X-Men in
on top.
it. The sources is the same one that said there's a She-Hulk show coming to Disney Plus.
I've heard of that.
Ahsoka Tano will cameo in The Mandalorian, which I don't know who that is.
She's a character that was created in Star Wars: The Clone Wars TV show.
Okay,
Actually, she was in the movie, and then when
and
it became
then
a TV
and then
show.
that there's a Justice League Dark series for HBO Max, and all of those are confirmed true. So that same source is saying that Wanda Maximoff's going to have her own movie. Details are scarce at this stage, but we're hearing that the story could involve a conflict between her and the X-Men. Unfortunately, that's all we know, but that makes sense for Marvel.
Hmm.
So, what do you think?
I think that would be pretty cool. I'm excited for anything Marvel, for Star Wars as well. Ahsoka Tano, that's an interesting live action character. Because although they do the aliens all the time, she's a Togruta, which is it's one of the type of the aliens. So her story is that she was a Padawan and she was assigned Anakin Skywalker to be her master. And so she was trained by Anakin. Um, she has like a whole arc dedicated her into the last season of the Clone Wars. And then she is in their spin-off show called Star Wars Rebels, which takes place during the reign of the Empire. And then I think she was in one other thing. I might be wrong on that. I
And
don't
then
know.
the other item, which was what we heard yesterday, was that they're talking about bringing Michael Keaton back as Bruce Wayne slash Batman
Hmm.
in the Flash movie with what's the guy's name? Ezra Miller
Yeah, Ezra Miller.
is going to play the Flash. They're making the movie, and then from that, now they're using the Flashpoint
Paradox.
paradox storyline, but of course they'll cherry pick it and
Right.
not. No, won't be verbatim. But then they're saying that depending on how it works out, that he could be that Bruce Wayne could be um, the DC universe version of Nick Fury, where he's
Hmm.
going to be in multiple films. He's just going to come in and have some parts. What do you think
I think that's interesting. That's kind of cool. I know. Well, yeah, Michael Keaton's your favorite, right?
of
Yeah,
Batman?
yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah, yeah. And I think it's interesting. Now, my favorite rumor is that so in no, it wasn't Dawn. Was it Dawn of Justice? Yeah, Dawn of Justice. Um, we see Bruce Wayne's parents killed again, but Thomas Wayne is played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Negan,
Negan, yeah, from The Walking Dead, and he was also in that show.
Supernatural.
Yeah, yeah, but it's the one that you guys watched, the lawyer
Oh
one.
yeah, The Good Wife.
Yeah, he was on Supernatural for a while too, which is funny because there's a scene
I don't
where
know.
they come in with essentially Lucille and it's like, oh, Dad would have loved this. Anyways, um, no, but my is so in the Flashpoint in the storyline when Flash, which actually the Flash didn't it's weird, but when the universe changes, Bruce is the one to die and Thomas Wayne becomes Batman, but he's an older, more violent Batman who's not afraid to kill. He uses
And then
guns,
Martha becomes the Joker,
and Martha becomes she's driven insane by the death
which
of her child.
was
What?
okay.
Oh, it was Lauren Cohen.
Yeah, Maggie from The
In
Walking
Walking
Dead.
Dead, which is really weird to see Negan and Maggie have a son that
Yeah,
becomes Batman. Anyway, that's just a funny thing. But yeah, he uses guns. He actually dual wields guns. He throws people off of buildings to kill them. Like he has no problems with it whatsoever. Um, and Jeffrey Dean as Negan, who's has no problem killing people. He's doing fine at that. So put a cape and cowl and some guns in his hands. I'm all for it. Um, Now, what's really okay? So here's what's going on with how flashpoints work in the comics is so Flash travels back in time
to save his
to
mother.
save his mother from dying, which alters reality, and he comes back and is like, all this stuff is different, which leads to the DC Rebirth, where they revamped the story. They just kind of like what they did with the New 52. Basically, that was a DC Rebirth. And then what they come to find out is it wasn't the Flash that did it at all. Him traveling back in time meant nothing. Dr. Manhattan of the Watchmen did it.
Oh,
He and I think I saw a thing where I could be completely wrong because I don't remember if I remember correctly. But they asked like Dr. Manhattan, like, why did you do that? He's like, I wanted to see what would happen. And so like Dr. Manhattan was behind. he was behind the Flashpoint, New 52, and DC Rebirth.
Hmm,
It was all him just messing with it.
interesting.
Yeah. So should that become the live action story? I would sure. I'm gonna watch that. Here's my wallet. You
Take
know,
my firstborn.
yeah, right.
I mean, oh no, your sister.
Second born.
Ah,
But
sorry,
anyways,
Jess.
yeah, I think we're closing in on time.
Yeah. Shout outs to Timothy Long.
Yeah,
Did he ever come up with a name?
it's still Timothy Long, so check him out on YouTube. I know it's a little
Well,
hard.
there's 1,000 Timothy Longs.
Maybe I think I'll link his video. I'll link his channel in the description. That
Also,
that way we
our
can find,
buddy Donnie Finocchio, who he also has a channel. His is about shooting guns,
which is great. Sounds
so you
awesome.
should be watching that.
Uh, I
Um,
will. I
Shout
will.
out to Kevin and Flora. I don't. Did you check to see if we had any new
No,
comments?
we didn't.
So come on, guys, get yourselves out there. Let us know what you think. Let us know who you are, so we can shout you out next time around. And let us know what your opinions or your arguments on anything that we talk about. Don't forget to enable notifications. Don't forget to share our videos with other
Mhm.
people. Post them to other social medias if you want to. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, and I'm also going to link our Twitter and Instagram, along with Tim's channel in the description,
And Donnie's channel.
and Donnie's channel if I can find it. And yeah, we'll see you next time. We look
Episode 14.
14, yeah. So I'm Wolf.
I'm Daddy O.
We look forward to howling with you again next time.